Y'all give it up for my man, Rasta Root. What's happening, brother? How you been, brother? We hadn't spoke in a couple months, man. How you been?
I've been good, man. How about yourself?
I can't call it. I can't call it. You know, the world, apparently, people told me the world was going to end on Wednesday, but guess what? The sun came up, you know what I mean? And now here we are on Friday, so I don't know. I don't know what's happening. The last time we spoke, we were speaking about the police murdering black kids in the street. That had just happened. And now, as I just mentioned, here we are in the world of Trump, my man. So when I don't know if you stayed up all night on Tuesday or if you woke up on Wednesday and did what I did and saw everybody mad as hell on social media, the moment you found out what happened, what was DJ Rasta Root's reaction?
I mean, you know, it wasn't a moment for me because I saw it unfolding as I was watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was a little incredulous about it, but I had a feeling what the outcome was going to be just based on what I was seeing. And, you know, I realized that, you know, this thing is way bigger than Trump or Clinton. You know, there's somebody else pulling the puppet strings, and I'm not saying it was like, you know, anything shiesty or anything, but what we view as what control is not what's in control. So, you know, we're just kind of wandering around this country, you know, absorbing what they feed to us in the media or whatever, but there's a lot more going on behind the scenes.
Oh,
it's almost like watching a concert, and all you're seeing is the performers, but you have no idea what goes on to put on the production and who's backstage turning what lights on and off and pulling curtains and stuff like that. So I think about the movie, The Wizard of Oz or The Wiz, and that whole thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You
pretty much that to me.
You sound like me, man. I tell my people who listen to the show all the time, man, the game is being played on a totally different level. And it's not even that we can't understand the game. We just don't even know what game's being played at all, my man.
Right.
Where you at right now? You in New York? You in New York right now? I know you guys got the Saturday Night Live situation going on tomorrow. Are you up there right now?
I'm in Atlanta, but I'm heading to New York in the AM.
No doubt. Yeah.
I go there in the morning and I come back Sunday.
Oh, okay, you coming back. You're not going to go keep heading up north? You're not going to do that number?
Not this time around. I got to prepare something before I can do that.
So, yeah, for you guys that don't know what we're talking about, Saturday Night Live tomorrow, as I mentioned, DJ Rasta Root, friends, manager, DJ for Tribe Called Quest, and, of course, the late, great Phife Dawg. Tribe Called Quest got a new album out today. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. They back from an 18-year hiatus, man. How damn old am I? Yeah. Jesus. I know
if you answer that question, I got to answer that question.
Right. You heard the album. I ain't heard it yet. I told the people that's going to be my workout soundtrack in the morning when I get up and hit the gym. That's what I'm going to be working out to. But you heard it, man. Give us the preview of the album, brother.
I mean, really, it's funny because I was there the whole time they were recording, and I just couldn't say anything to anybody. So it was like one of the biggest secrets I had to keep.
No doubt.
Since November, December. So I heard the creation of the album. At the same time, I was lucky as a fan that by the time, Phife had transitioned and I'd come back to Atlanta, that a lot had changed in the music, and they had, some issues with samples and stuff, so they switched up a lot of the beats and stuff. So me hearing it, I was able to hear with a fresh pair of ears, which was really cool. So I got to experience the behind-the-scenes part of it, but also the final product was a surprise for me. And overall, I love it. I mean, I love hearing Phife. I love having memories of when he was recording and what state of mind he was in, and that really, brings peace to me and joy. And I know the fans hear that in his voice, and I think that's the most important part. And beyond that, these guys being able to have as many issues as they supposedly had, but to be able to come together as a tribe and create this beautiful album was the biggest prize of all.
Talking about coming off of a hiatus, now tomorrow night, when we see Saturday Night Live, we won't only see Tribe Called Quest, of course, sans Phife Dawg, but we'll see Dave Chappelle. How did that come about? How did Dave Chappelle, was it a Tribe Called Quest move, or was it a Saturday Night Live move that got Dave Chappelle?
I think it was probably like a cooperative plan. Dave Chappelle is a friend of Tip's.
Right.
Remember, Tip was on the Dave Chappelle show and
absolutely
with the STDs, which is kind of funny. So they're friends, and Dave is a great guy. He was there for the whole celebration. I got to meet him in Jersey for Phife's celebration at Apollo, and I think he just has an affinity for the group, and You know, I think it's a great time for him to do his monologue.
Absolutely.
I think being that it's Tribe and he's also a fan of Tribe and Tribe is a fan of his, it's like the perfect situation. I talked to Jerobi and he was saying that one of his bumps was, please join me with the Tribe Called Quest and Dave Chappelle tomorrow on SNL, the blackest SNL you'll ever see, and that's his big sense of humor. So it's appropriate. I think people need a laugh. I think this album for people in this country and all the world, it kind of put them at ease a little bit. With the results of the election, people still were looking forward to the album. You know what I mean? And I think this performance and what it can do for people and their spirits and their morale is going to be great and amazing. So I'm really looking forward to experiencing and witnessing all that.
Tell me about the final track, the Donald. Now, apparently this was recorded long before now, obviously, but it seems so appropriate for now.
Whenever the nominations happened between the parties, we were in Jersey when he was nominated. So Phife wrote the verse, and there were some things related to politics, but Tip gave him the nickname Don Juice.
Okay.
And that's where the Donald Juice, and then they decided to name it the Donald because of Donald Trump, but it's also an ode to Phife and his kind of AKA, his new persona that he was kind of like stepping into the shoes of, just like he did Phife Dawg in the early 90s.
Damn. Dude, Cass is just so creative. Like, I don't have creativity in me. This is what I do, my man. I talk. I turn a microphone on, and I talk, and I say ignorant stuff and stupid stuff, and hopefully people get a little bit entertained and a little bit informed. But when I hear stories like that, I look at the album covers, the Tribe Called Quest album covers, dude, I get blown away. I was like, my moms and my pops, they didn't give me that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm talking right now to a world-renowned DJ. Dude, it actually dropped some knowledge on me the last time we talked about like real DJing stuff that I had no idea about. So I definitely always take that with me. He's the manager, friend,
bro.
Tribe Called Quest, and the late Phife Dawg. Follow him on social media, you guys, at DJ Rasta Root, and make sure you check out the website, smokingshells.com. You also were a part of some letter writing on a website that I saw today, okaplayer.com.
Yes, OK Player, yeah.
And you wrote a letter that I read, and it wasn't what I expected, my man. I was like, all right, maybe this dude was like, yeah, okay, this is my guy and all this kind of stuff. But you yourself, you articulated some things that I don't know how to really describe what I read. Why don't you do it? Why don't you describe what's going to be in these letters? Like I said, you guys can go to OK Player, okaplayer.com. There's a couple of letters from people writing letters thanking and commemorating a Tribe Called Quest. And because DJ Rasta Root is my guest and he wrote one, I think I should give up on trying to explain and let you do it.
I mean, it's hard. It wasn't so much a hard letter to write, but Phife and I have played so many roles in each other's lives. I went from like a fan before I even met him. I interviewed him in college, so it's been a weird like hip hop romance, if you will. You know what I mean? I look at it like one of my most beloved groups. Ended up becoming friends with one of the members once they were broken up, and then we kind of had went through a lot of hard times. Him as a soloist, me trying to find my way in music, and we built this friendship that was kind of like unbreakable. We knew that no matter what happened, we had each other's back. You know what I mean? And in writing a letter for Tribe, I wanted to make sure people understood that, I thank Tribe for giving me Phife, and I thank his mother, Cheryl Boyce Taylor, for giving me Malik. You know what I mean? Because there's two sides to him. So I wanted people to know the background of how I met him, and the different points in time that I had interactions with him and his group, and then how it affected me up until meeting him. So regardless of him being my best friend or whatever, I still revere them as a group, and they did a lot for music at the time. They did a lot for people, definitely myself, and I just wanted to express that. Of course, we had a time limit as far as when I had to turn it in, as well as how long the letter was going to be. But, I try to be as deep as I could be and share as much as I could that maybe people didn't know, and understand that, for every person that writes a letter, they pick 10 people, but literally anybody who's ever listened to the album can probably write a letter of their own.
Absolutely true.
That would be totally distinct than mine or whoever else wrote a letter. So mine was just one snapshot, one story of how Tribe affected somebody's life. That's all it is, you know.
And the one thing I kind of gleaned from it, the one question that I had in my mind that I definitely wanted to pose to you, and I don't know if you ever thought about this, like who would DJ Rasta be if he had never met Phife Dawg?
I mean, that's a good question. I think how I was raised, a couple ways. How I was raised is, you know, one thing is I believe things are written and things are the way they're supposed to be, you know. So had I not met him or his group, I wouldn't have known what it was like to have met them, so I wouldn't have missed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been one to always, no matter what I had going on, big or small, I always looked out for myself. I always knew that nothing was forever, and God forbid something happened, which unfortunately it did, that I would have to, you know, dust myself off and continue my growth in my life in this world and my path. And no matter what happened, I have to, at the end of the day, be able to take care of myself.
Yeah.
You know, so
I guess what I'm asking is like, what did he add to your life that wouldn't be there? I guess that would have probably been the better way to phrase the question.
Sure. I think the experiences of, like, you know, of being around someone who, from the age of 17, 18, was plucked from his hood and traveled the world and changed the world without even knowing he was changing the world.
Wow.
And it made me understand that you don't have to do all that to change the world per se, but your world could be your neighborhood, it could be your street, it could be your house. And it's whatever you do in that time you have and how you utilize your time that's going to affect and impact and motivate people. That's the change, you know what I mean? And that's, some people try hard to, like, make a huge difference in the world, but that's such a heavy task to do. Why not just pick a kid on your block and help them out? Why not pick, you know, an elderly lady and help her out, or your cousin or your sister, your mother, whatever? And in your own way, you're changing the world, you're changing your world, and you're adding on to a larger change in the world. So I always felt like I had to find my purpose here, and I think as much as he changed my life and affected my life, I'd like to believe,
absolutely,
you know, that he changed, that I changed his life. You know, we've had conversations, and he's had some really, like, introspective thoughts, and he's told me things about our friendship. And, you know, I go back to our last conversation, it was like the most purest conversation we'd ever had about just being friends, you know what I mean, and what that meant, and everything we had gone. This was the night before he passed away. Like, we had a really peaceful conversation. It was almost like a goodbye without knowing it was a goodbye, you know?
Man. I mean, what you said also, man, is, you know, people need to hear that as well. It's like, yeah, the world is doing what it's doing, but you got the ability to change your circle, the things that are within your reach as well, man. Good stuff.
Exactly.
Good stuff. You a sports guy, man?
And if you change somebody's life who goes on to change someone else's life, you've also changed that second person's life. You know, it's like a chain letter. It keeps going and going.
Just reciprocate it.
Yep.
Are you a sports guy?
Yep.
I don't think I asked you that last time, because last time there was a lot of heavy stuff going on, so we didn't really talk about sports.
I like European. We call it football. You guys call it soccer. I like that. I'm definitely into that heavy, but not so much into, like, NFL or NBA or anything.
When you say we, what do you mean? We what? Give me some background on what the we is. We call it football.
We mean because, you know, well, I don't know if you know this, but, like, growing up, I didn't grow up in this country.
I didn't know that.
I grew up in 7 different countries. You know, Spain, Abu Dhabi, England, Holland, Brazil, Guatemala, Canada, Japan. So, you know, I moved here. It's the longest place I've lived, but I moved here as an adult. So growing up, I had a lot more connection with Europe, if you will,
right.
South America, Central America. So I say the we in that sense.
Got you. See, no, I didn't know that. Like, every time I talk to you, dude, it's like something, you know, I need to have you on the show more often. That way, you know, I can become a wiser, more knowledgeable person.
Hey, man, that's what it's about, man. If I get to change your world, then I'm changing the world. Absolutely.
There it is.
And same, it goes from you too, you know?
Absolutely, man. Speaking of knowledge, something that I didn't ask you last time, because the last time I asked you about the role of the DJ coming back into prominence with guys like Khaled and Drama and guys like that. But what I didn't ask you, because something that I don't know, when I see a song that says it's DJ Khaled featuring Chris Brown and 2 Chainz or whatever, what is the DJ's role? Is the DJ the de facto producer? Is he the arranger, the guy who arranges the talent? Like, what is DJ Khaled comes out with an album, but he's not rapping on it or singing on it or anything, but it's his album. What is the DJ's role in that dichotomy?
Right. Well, typically, the natural progression for DJs is to go into production. So either you're able to press the buttons and create, syncopated beats, or you can tell someone how to do it, or when you hear it, you know it. If when you hear it and you know it, that means you're more than likely going to bring producers into the fold to create, sound beds for your album, and you pick them. You say, that's a hit. That isn't a hit. DJs that I've experienced have an uncanny ability to pick songs they know are going to hit. It's just a fun thing we do. We say, that's going to be a single. That's going to be a video. That's not going to work. And sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, but you can kind of sharpen your sword by doing it consistently. I think DJ Khaled, with his albums, I think he just has a slew of producers. He has the name, so he might give them some type of credit, or he might take credit for producing it, but more than likely there's other people producing the sound, and he just knows how to pick the records, sequence the albums, find the right artist for the features, and make it happen.
Got you. What? Wrapping up here right now with DJ Rasta, friend of the show, world-renowned DJ manager, DJ for Tribe Called Quest, and the late, great Phife Dawg, at DJ Rasta on social media. And make sure you check out the website, SmokingShells.com. Wrapping up here with him real quick. Tell me once again about SmokingShells.com, DJ Rasta.
For sure. Smoking Shells is a, as far as DJing and stuff, I wanted to give back to, the art form that had given me, years of experience, the ability to travel all over the world, in fact, meet Phife, all those kind of things. So I said, what can I do? I didn't say this deliberately, but it just kind of happened in my head. What can I do to give back to the culture? So I started doing some research and development on what gear I could get involved with that was fairly inexpensive to create and that I could market, and it could be a project of mine to make something that no one knew about, make people around the world start knowing about. So I created a turntable head shell that's a high-polished aluminum head shell, and you're able to laser engrave your logo on there. It's funny you said that because I just boxed up a 4 or 6 Smoking Shells head shells for DJ Khaled, and they're going to be mailed off on Monday to him. So to me, it's about figuring out what moves DJs, marketing that, and then kind of spreading the word about it, and then that's pretty much branding. So if I'm able to do this with my own product, I can probably be hired once it's successful to help somebody else push their product out. That's my goal.
Absolutely. So make sure you get your head shells from SmokingShells.com. You get them joints engraved and everything, man, personalized for you.
Sure.
Last thing I got for you, I want to ask you
absolutely
a question going back to what we started the conversation with. And there's kind of a statement that I make on the show, and I made it to you, about not knowing the game's being played and how the game's being played, and a lot of people not knowing how much money influences the policies that tend to negatively affect black people in this country. And one of the things we talked about last time, you said these cats, they sleep too much to make a difference. I'm paraphrasing, but you were talking about all you're doing is partying and partying and partying, and then you have to sleep all the damn time. And I always mention to my audience that while we celebrate so much bottle popping and making it rain and all this kind of stuff, people are putting money into getting policy passed that's putting our black asses in jail right and left for some of the most minor things in this world. My question to you is, what role do you feel like hip hop as a culture can play moving forward into, I guess, starting to play the game a little bit?
I mean, I think people are going to get tired of partying to the extent they party. And they're going to get tired of, shaming people on Instagram. They're going to get tired of flossing of what they have or don't have on Instagram. At some point, it's going to be so inundated with that, people are going to be turned off by it. It's just a trend that's happening right now. And
okay.
We're usually the trendsetters, but there's times that we actually are hurtful to ourselves based on how we portray ourselves, how we treat others of our kind, and it becomes this rabbit hole of just incessant pulling people down. And I think it's going to take a new generation of educated people to teach their children, where we come from, where we've been, where we are, and where we are going to go, or where we need to go. It's not going to happen on Instagram. It's not going to happen just magically. There's going to have to be people that have to make sacrifices big sacrifices in their lives to help affect change. And again, it's going to have to happen on a microcosmic level, not necessarily on the macro.
Yeah.
So me doing this in my community, or me doing something locally, or you doing something locally, or you bringing awareness via your radio show, whatever, those are the little changes. There's going to be those that are going to gravitate towards these changes because they're fed up, or they have a thirst for knowledge. Right now we just have a thirst, or just a thirst for partying. But once that thirst for knowledge comes back and it's popular it's cool to like be smart, I think it's going to make a difference. Right now I don't think it's cool to be smart, unfortunately.
There it is. My brother, I always feel like I get better when I talk. Well, we've talked twice now, so both times I always feel like I've gotten better after talking to you. And I hope that my audience is experiencing what I experienced, man. You're a very insightful person.
I hope so too, definitely.
And I appreciate you taking the time out to deal with, somebody on my level, man, and coming on my show and talking about your friend Phife Dawg and the guys that you're involved with and what you guys are doing tomorrow. I want you to travel safe, homie. I hope everything goes as planned up in New York. I hope you guys have a great time. I'm going to be watching, man. You guys go up there and shut it down.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for a great interview.
Thank you, brother.